Hello. I would like to talk a little bit today about the recent Cannes Film Festival, which concluded um, just a few days ago at the time of filming this on the 24th of May. It is currently, as I am recording this, the 31st of May. And I just kind of wanted to talk about the reaction to some of these films and then kind of do a weird deep dive on a topic that we will discuss later. So, you know, this year, I mean, the big winner was this movie. It was just an accident, which, I know very little about. Apparently, it's by this filmmaker who is making films in open defiance of the Iranian government, and every time he does it, he risks imprisonment. He has been imprisoned several times, just for making critical art. And this film, I'm sure it involves some kind of accident in a car, and maybe they're on their way to a wedding. I don't know. It looks good. I'll watch it. But there were lots of films that were playing at the festival that I was very curious about, like Die My Love, the new Lynn Ramsey movie. She did, We Need to Talk About Kevin, You Were Never Really Here. Eddington, the new movie from Ari Aster. His follow up to Beau is Afraid, and it seems like now he's going more in this kind of comedy direction, which is interesting. Um, what else? New Kelly Reichardt, new Nouvelle Vague, the new movie by Richard Linklater, which is about the filming of the Jean-Luc Godard movie Breathless, which I am not a fan of Godard, but I am a fan of Richard Linklater, so I'll watch it. New Wes Anderson movie, The Phoenician Scheme. New Joachim Trier movie, his follow-up to The Worst Person in the World, Sentimental Value, which I've heard wonderful things about. And all kinds of wonderful-looking movies, including a couple that interested me, like Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which seems, a bit commercial for these kind of artsy types who run Cannes. And of course, it is out of competition because you can't have a lowly film like Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning be in the same strata as the films that are eligible for the Palme d'Or. And also, Exit 8. This interested me. This is an adaptation of a Japanese um, video game, which I have played. I actually played it because I heard about this movie, and I was intrigued. And it is a game where you are walking down a hallway over and over and over and over. So kind of like PT, but like less involved. And you're walking down this hallway in like a subway station, and you're trying to get to the exit. And the way you arrive at the exit and not get forever trapped in this loop is you spot anomalies. So there will be things like, you'll look at the posters on the wall, and all the posters will be the same picture, or one of the pictures will be replaced by a creepy picture, or, the lights will flicker, or the lights will go out, or there's a man walking towards you, and sometimes he'll be really tall, and sometimes he'll have no face, and things like this. And when you spot an anomaly, you just run in the other direction, and then you keep going in the other direction until you spot an anomaly, and then you run in the other direction, and then eventually you make it to exit 8. I made it. I'm proud of myself, but I still have to find 9 anomalies. So yeah, they made a movie out of that, and it actually got pretty good reviews. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes very kindly has supplied us with this Cannes movie scorecard where you can see, how everything did. Mission Impossible got an 80. That's nice. Harris Dickinson's debut film Urchin scored very well. Yeah, he's an actor. I mean, who you've probably seen, and I saw him most recently in Baby Girl. But yeah, good actor. Sorry Baby, which pretty positive I'm gonna like because it was acquired by A24. Uh, Produced by Barry Jenkins, I believe. It's a first time film by Eva Victor, who also stars in it. Before this, she was just an actress. I don't know what it's about. I know it has a cat in it. The Secret Agent. This one, actor and director at Cannes, so that's a pretty big deal. Yeah, new Kelly Reichardt, 83. This was maybe the film I was most excited about at the festival, the new Spike Lee film, Highest to Lowest. Reteaming him with Denzel for the first time since Inside Man, I do believe. I got really good reviews. Kristen Stewart's new movie got really good reviews, so that's cool. Dangerous Animals. God, this is another one where I was like, that's playing at Cannes, because it's like, it looks like fun, but it looks like really junky. It's like about this guy who he's like a fisherman, and he like kidnaps women out on a boat, and he feeds them to sharks or something. He's like obsessed with sharks, and yeah, I don't know. Die My Love, kind of a mixed reception. They like Nouvelle Vague. This is probably incredibly boring, but I spend a lot of time going through this stuff. As you can see, the new Wes Anderson, surprisingly mixed. Surprisingly mixed. Interesting. But it was better than Bono Stories of Surrender, which is directed by Andrew Dominik, who made the Assassination of Jesse James by the character Robert Ford, which is like at least a top 20 movie of all time for me, maybe top 10. I don't know. Eddington got really mixed reviews too. I need to stop. This is probably incredibly boring. But anyway, I was looking at this, and I was looking at some of these odd films that I wouldn't expect to play Cannes, like Mission Impossible and Exit 8. And I was thinking, what are the weirdest, most inexplicable movies that have ever played the Cannes Film Festival? And so I did some research, and I made a list. I made a list, and here it is. So here are my picks for the weirdest films to ever play for some reason at the Cannes Film Festival. Starting with Hypnotic a couple years ago. This is like one of the worst films I've seen in recent years. It was like bafflingly bad, because there are some like interesting ideas here, but it's just the execution is like a fucking disaster. Most of these are going to be out of competition, of course. The Idol, also a couple years ago, 2023, famous disaster. The Weeknd trying to act, it doesn't seem to be working out for him. This one I found interesting because Pixar has had very few movies at Cannes, and the fact that the couple that have been there are like Up and Elemental just seems kind of strange to me. Yeah, Indiana Jones. So there have been 5 Indiana Jones films. One is like commonly considered one of the greatest films of all time. One, I would say, is just about on that level. Last Crusade, and then you got Temple of Doom, which is it's pretty good. But none of those movies ever played Cannes. It was just Dial of Destiny in 2023 and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in 2008. Those are the Indiana Jones movies they got. They also got this OSS 117 From Africa with Love. Like, I would be surprised if any OSS 117 movie played at Cannes, because they're like really goofy, ridiculous, like spy spoofs. But at least the ones before this were directed by the guy who made The Artist, Michel Hazanavicius, or whatever his name is. And then this one, it was just like, this is just like knockoff OSS 117. They wait until the great Academy Award winning filmmaker is gone from these ridiculous spoof comedies, and then that's the one they bring. Interesting. Oliver Stone continues to make incredibly long and detailed movies about his nonsensical JFK conspiracies, so that's always fun. Then we got Gotti, the recipient of a rare and coveted 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, directed by one of the guys from Entourage with original music by Pitbull. as far as Star Wars movies that have played con, it's only the best ones. We got Solo, a Star Wars story there in 2019. This is the best Star Wars movie that ever played con. And then we have Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. They didn't even get Phantom Menace, so it's just like they're I can't imagine just everybody in their tuxedos and their beautiful dresses, and they're all so fancy and dignified, just sitting there and watching Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman just like rolling around in that field with those like weird balloon monsters. And now, if you had to guess what the most recent Steven Spielberg film to play at con was, what would you say? Like The Post, Bridge of Spies? No, it was the BFG. Why? How to Train Your Dragon. There have been a shocking number of DreamWorks movies that have played at con. Way more than Pixar. I don't know. Maybe they're just fighting harder for it. I don't know. But How to Train Your Dragon 2 has the distinction of being the only How to Train Your Dragon film to ever play at con. But of course, we did get the first two Shrek movies at con as well. We got the first Kung Fu Panda there. So yeah, DreamWorks has quite a legacy with them. And of course, we also have Over the Hedge, everyone's favorite DreamWorks film. Still a film that just everybody loves it. Nobody thinks this skunk has like a horrifying nightmare face. Very, very beloved film. And then maybe the most inexplicable movie to ever play con, I think, is Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. James Franco, yeah, I don't know if you know this, he made a whole bunch of adaptations of like some of the greatest works of literature of all time. And they're all just really horrible. One of them made it into con, and not even not even out of competition. It was Un Certain Regard, which is it's like it's not the Palme d'Or, but it's the second most prestigious thing to the Palme d'Or. I don't know how he got in there, but he managed it. Also, Lloyd Kaufman, famous for creating Trauma Entertainment, um, Toxic Avenger, all those movies. Only had one film to ever play at con in a special screening, Return to Nukem High, Volume 1. Cruel Summer by Kanye West. Kanye West was in two short films. I've seen one of them. I've seen a short film he made with Spike Jonze, which was actually kind of interesting from what I remember. But then he directed this one, and I don't know what it's about, but apparently it was like some like innovative crazy thing, and they like showed it on like a pyramid, and it was like all these different perspectives at the same time or something. I don't know. The Beaver, if you've never seen it, this is a movie where Mel Gibson has a beaver puppet on his hand, and it fixes his life and it fixes his marriage. And there's one scene where he fights it, and he's fighting his own hand, and it's magic. It's not a good movie, but it's a fascinating watch. And this was after Mel, like his career had really fallen off. This was early 2000s Mel, where he was really just a pariah at that time. And so Jodie Foster extended him this olive branch, and was just like, I'm going to give you this great role that's going to cause people to they're going to see you in this whole new light as this brilliant visionary actor. And yeah, it's a movie where he fights his own hand. It's great. This is once again Pirates of the Caribbean. Which one are they going to play? Are they going to play the first one, which actually got nominated for a few Oscars? Are they going to play the Dead Man's Chest? Are they going to play the other fucking one? They're going to On Stranger Tides. The correct answer is On Stranger Tides, the fourth one. That's the one you want for your prestigious film festival. Also, X-Men: The Last Stand. Yeah, I mean, superhero films almost never play at con, and this is, from what I remember, maybe the only one to ever do it. I don't even think like Black Panther got into con or anything, but yeah, X Men: The Last Stand, directed by Brett Ratner. Not even one of the Bryan Singer ones. They had to do the Brett Ratner one. Makes me happy. This is maybe the worst film I've seen that was in competition for the Palme d'Or, for the big prize at the Cannes Film Festival. And like, I love the Coen brothers, they're my favorite filmmakers, but this movie is awful. And when you look at all of the really fantastic acclaimed movies that had to play, out of competition at the festival, Blues Brothers 2000, uh, one of the most bleak and depressing sequels of all time, and it's not because they're trying to be. It's just this movie with like, with just this void at the center of it, this unfillable void that was John Belushi, and it's just like it's you know the obvious answer would be just don't make a sequel to the Blues Brothers, like 20 years later. But if you're gonna do it, maybe don't like make the fact that John Belushi isn't there like the centerpiece of the entire film, and you feel it in every scene and you're constantly reminded of it, and you're trying to laugh but the jokes aren't funny, and it's just depressing because his friend is gone. It's brutal. It's, and not in a good way. We of course got 1998 had a couple interesting ones. Roland Emmerich's terrible version of Godzilla, the only Godzilla film to ever play at the Cannes Film Festival. I believe the only kaiju film to ever play at the festival. What a pick! You had Cliffhanger by Rennie Harlin, which is it's entertaining. It's one of the most '90s movies in existence, and it's pretty terrible, but it's a lot of fun. And I've always loved this poster because it's like he's in. This is clearly like two photos that they just smashed together. Where it's like, why would he be dressed like this in like on top of a snowy mountain? Like, makes no fucking sense. And nobody looked at this and I was just like, I don't think this composition tracks. I think we should try again. They were just like, yeah, let's go with it. He's wearing like a tank top and tiny shorts on top of a snowy mountain. It's great. Then you got the Nine Lives of Fritz the Cat by Robert Taylor. I mean, the first Fritz the Cat also played at Cannes, and that was an odd film for the festival. But at least it had like some kind of pedigree. It was made by like Ralph Bakshi, who's like an acclaimed animator. I mean, this was just like a cheap follow up where he's like a marijuana addicted, womanizing cat who like has daydreams about like being a Nazi and like a Roman legionary. And then, of course, my favorite, which I saved for last, the Chipmunk Adventure, which played in 1986 out of competition, which is a bummer. I feel like, if any film should have ever qualified for the Palme d'Or, it's clearly Chipmunk Adventure. And the fact that it was not allowed its rightful place in history is tragic. So that's about it. I think this is, it's not one of my best ones. You know, it's really not. But I'm trying to. You gotta get back in the swing of things. You gotta get back on that horse and not change the horse for the other horse in midstream or whatever. Keep on galloping on. Okay, there were some editing issues with this one. My program got weird and things that were supposed to be synced didn't sync, so I had to try to sync them. And there are parts here where it's not great.